Keto Diet Guide Cookbook, a guide on how to stay in ketosis. Chapter 5. Higher fasting blood glucose while on a keto. One of the questions that many people ask while on a keto diet is, what causes the increase in fasting blood glucose while on a low-carb diet? You can easily find lots of discussions on this topic in various paleo and ketogenic online forums. Unfortunately, some of the answers and information on such forums leads to fear, especially when they take and make use of unsustainable claims. One such claim is that low-carb diets such as keto could cause diabetes instead of reversing it. Some will even go through the extent of declaring that it was the reason why they got it in the first place. I can assure you that you have absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to your fasting blood glucose levels while eating the keto way. The information here is from well-researched medical literature as well as opinion from experts in the health industry. There are several reasons why fasting blood glucose tends to be a bit high while on a keto or lower carb diets, so let's explore some of them. It could be a result of psychological insulin resistance. The truth is that the increase in fasting blood glucose while on a low-carb diet is quite normal, and it's regarded as adaptive glucose sparing. You can easily find this in individuals who embrace low-carb diets from a long time. Most individuals on long-term low-carb diets will discover that their fasting blood glucose will be their highest value of the day. Most of them don't often have problems with blood sugar and they're doing very well. When estimating a 24-hour period of your blood glucose, you will discover that it's often high early in the morning, but there will be a steady decline all through the day. This phenomenon in scientific terms is regarded as physiological insulin resistance. Interestingly, it's not bad at all, unlike the pathological insulin resistance, which is a kind of insulin resistance that is a result of higher level of insulin, hyperinsulinemia, that are attempting to force glucose into overstuffed cells. On the other hand, physiological insulin resistance, which has also been called adaptive glucose sparing, just to reduce the confusion caused by the first name, refers to muscles that they are in glucose refuse mode. Just before you started eating the keto way, your muscles were mainly responsible for soaking up and making use of glucose in the blood for energy. However, while on a keto diet for the long term, your source of fuel will be fat, but your muscles will resist this action of insulin that brings sugar into cells for energy. The muscles will in essence say, we no longer need your sugar, so move along. This ends up causing a slight increase but a stable level of glucose circulating in the blood. When you embrace low-carb diets such as a keto diet, what you're going to do is training your body to make use of fat as fuel instead of sugar. Well, when you do this, your muscles will also begin to reject sugar whenever it's available. Consequently, more sugar will get to stay right in your bloodstream even when you're not consuming much of it. But where exactly is the source of the glucose despite the fact that you're no longer consuming sugar but just leafy veggie carbs? The answer is from the liver via a process known as glycogenesis, the production of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources like glycerol and glycerogenic acid from protein. This is simply a natural protective process that has assisted Homo sapiens for hundreds of thousands of years of feminine as feasts. Another question that requires an answer is, why are blood sugar highest in the morning? It's simply your body preparing breakfast for them via a process commonly known as the dawn phenomenon. This takes place when there are growth hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, and the enzymes glucagon pulse to your liver to enable you to kickstart the day. Low insulin levels, a crucial difference. You may just learn a little by testing only fasting blood glucose and not testing fasting insulin. It's possible for two individuals who have the same levels of fasting blood glucose but with different circulating levels of insulin. This has to do with the relationship between insulin and glucose and the way both of them work in concern. This relationship is known as homeostatic model assessment of insulin resistance, or HOMA-IR. Although the same way seems difficult, what it means is that the body is constantly attempting to keep its vital system in equilibrium, homeostasis. So insulin is always working against glucose in a bit of maintaining stable blood sugar levels. The impact of cortisol on blood glucose. Undoubtedly, most of us live extremely stressful lives, making up very early in the morning and taking our breakfast before dashing to the office. While in the office, we are sometimes faced with deadlines or targets that we must meet, and after work, we are caught up in traffic and finally get home in the evening only to prepare dinner and sleep. Wake up the next day and begin this cycle all over again. Well, where some people have managed to relax and let go of the stress, others live issues reducing or even releasing their stress. This may lead to poor sleep, insomnia, or less constant tension or feelings of anxiety. The hormone that meditates is fight or flight, physiological response to cortisol, and it also has a direct impact on your own body's glucose levels. Your blood glucose levels will go up with prolonged cortisol stimulation. So working very hard to ensure that your cortisol, your weight and blood glucose by embracing a keto diet, only to see it alternating with stress will certainly defeat your goals. Understanding the role cortisol plays in increasing blood glucose levels will help you know that the cause of your problems isn't your diet, but may likely be your stress level or other factors that we have already mentioned. There has been an increased number of studies to prove that with proper medical guidance and support, more than 50% of individuals with type 2 diabetes might actually get their health conditions into remission courtesy of the keto diet. What this implies is that with the right medical guidance and support, individuals with type 2 diabetes can get their blood glucose back to normal without having to consume glucose-lowering drugs again. It's important to note that one measurement in isolation isn't sufficient in diagnosing something or prescribing medication, especially for things that are variable as fasting glucose. It's often better to guide glucose regulations with hemoglobin, A1C, and for a good number of people, as long as A1C remains normal, they're not always alarmed by a slightly elevated fasting blood glucose.